Hi, welcome to the True Mouse Games YouTube channel. My name is Alex and I, as always, have the honor of being your game master for the evening. We are playing Symbaroum, the Chronicles of the Copper Crown, the potentially last or at least penultimate session of the Tomb of Dying Dreams. For those of you who have not caught all our episodes so far, this is a short campaign that's been going on for about, 7 or 8, 9 sessions, something like that. Basically, our characters have stopped a murderer, a serial killer called the Flayer in Thistlehold. They have, while in the fight with this Flayer and allied with a black cloak, a witch hunter basically, and his minions, they have also fought an abomination, and they discovered a weird skull with a copper crown on it that was basically merged with the skull. And during the fight, while the witch hunter died because he was mind controlled by our goblin Tarkala, and while his minions died, all but one actually, Claudius, the rogue of the party, had taken the crown and the skull and ran off with it, as he was possessed by the spirit of the ancient king Hiruan-Lo-Apak, who was still contained within his own skull and his old crown. Claudius disappeared into the dark forest of Devakar, never to be seen again. Well, until now. Anyway, a few months after the whole hunt with the whole business with the Flayer, our player characters were tasked with discovering rediscovering an expedition of Ordo Magica that they had sent into the forest of Devakar to find the burial place, the resting grounds of this very same king, Hiruan-Lo-Apak, whose crown and skull Claudius took. And yeah, that expedition of Ordo Magica did find the place. However, after about a few weeks, every contact they are having contact on by magical means broke off. Now, so our player characters traveled into Devakar. They traveled to this town of Jakar, deep within the forest. They chartered a ship that took them pretty much to the very edge of this area that holds the tomb and some other buildings that were once probably under the control of this ancient Symbaroum king. And they set foot on land, the ship leaving them behind, as the captain and his sailors were very eager to get away after one of them had been basically eaten by some sort of giant snake that had attacked the boat. And with that, our player characters remained on land. And now I will actually have our characters, or their players, narrate what happened basically during the end of 2 sessions ago and during the last session. So whoever wants to take it, go ahead, guys, and tell everyone, maybe recall in your own mind and to your own allies what happened during that time. So whoever wants to take it, go ahead.
Well, since no one's else starting, well, we landed on the shore and found out that there were a bunch of cats stuck in a house. So we killed the cats, found that there were a bunch of people inside the house. That helped us find where we were supposed to go, which was that wizard's tower. So we stayed the night, stocked up on rations, weapons, etc. Headed off to the wizard's tower in the morning and found out that there were a bunch of goblins occupying it. And
yes, sorry, just to interrupt real quick, you also saw some weird black patches of death, basically, in the forest as you were traveling to what was once the headquarters of this expedition of Ordo Magica. But
which the goblins told us. No, wait. Did the goblins, or was there a... Okay, yeah, the goblins told us that there was a primal abomination thing.
Actually, the guy from the Ordo Magica who was in the circle, the remnants of the circle, he was the last surviving member of the party. Everyone else had been killed, and they were left inside the room. Yeah. And he rambled on about this being, but this other being, the White Lady, I believe, and how she had given him the gift and protected him. So I sat down, and she contacted me, telling me about this beast that was not beast, smoke monster, I guess, is what I'm thinking of. Who kind of
she
poured over.
She called it the Black Wing, and we deduced more or less that it matches the stories we have heard before of a primal blight beast.
That's actually
However,
you arrived on, but never mind.
What? Oh, sorry. Nevertheless, we did not trust Xanatha, the so-called White Lady.
I certainly didn't.
And instead of going to the
which is how we got in the situation that
instead
we're
of going to
currently
the
in.
sinkhole, we went to the tomb. Our goblin scouted ahead, saw some enemies, and then we ignored the fact that the enemies were behind us and went in anyways. We found some dead people, different like decaying, states of decay.
And we just couldn't help.
Yeah, we couldn't help it.
We just couldn't help.
Good.
Go ahead, Michael.
Yeah, we found our way to the through the passageway into this tomb. I think we hit like the second or third room, and we found like a giant door.
Yes, let me reiterate just real quick. So what you remember is basically there was the entrance of the tomb, and there was one room beyond it, and then from that room there was a corridor going left, which you took, and the corridor going right, and there was some weird noises coming from that corridor. So you were like, nope, we're not going there. Let's go left. So there's still one corridor that is unexplored, that's merging away from the main entry room, basically. So you went left around the corner, and you came into the second room that you had seen, basically. But as you said, a couple of dead guys and so on, and yeah, and a few like weird like mosaics on the walls, and this ancient heavy copper gates, extremely heavy with some runes on it, and like green with verdigris with its age, basically. And continue, please.
Yeah, and naturally, as we saw this, we just couldn't help our curiosity. Odd tried to open the gate and promptly activated a trap, which stabbed him pretty hard. And then suddenly, the enemies, which we had seen before, appeared again, spearheaded by our former friend and party member, Claudius.
Indeed, just as Odd the ogre, who had been slashed pretty badly by this nasty trap, those blades that came off the wall, basically, as he tried to push the door open, had healed himself up using his mystical powers, drawing upon darkness of the magic, basically. They heard basically someone clearing his or her throat behind them. They turned around, and they saw several figures standing basically in the corridor behind them, now entering the room. And one of these figures revealed himself to be Claudius, their former party member. Gaunt-looking, dirty, with a weird light in his eyes. He has, under one arm, he's still carrying what looks to be a wrapped-up bundle, the skull of Hiruan-Lo-Apak, the Symbaroum king, in whose very tomb we are standing right now. So the room that you are in at the moment is not particularly large. It is about, let me see, it's about maybe 10 meters by about 10 by 10, so about 30 feet by 30 feet, basically. And there is a corridor on one end, which is only about 3-4 feet wide, so not particularly wide, and then the door on the other end, the gate, basically on the other end. And Odd is kneeling in the center of the room and sort of turned over his shoulder as he was healing himself. The rest of you is scattered around, or watching Odd basically healing himself, and have turned around, swiveled around to see these newcomers who have crept up on you as you were focused on Odd and the blades, and had retracted into the wall again, and other things. So there is, in total, there is 6 figures, if you do not count the skull, I suppose. There is 6 figures. There is Claudius himself. He has his trusted bandolier of throwing knives around his chest and a short sword at his hip, and carrying the skull. And he's standing in the center, basically. And then there is a large, towering figure next to him, which is nearly as tall as Odd, however, not an ogre, a human, but with the looks of it. However, a human with yellowish gray skin that has partially peeled off, and you can see the skull shimmering through. This human is long since dead. However, there is evil light still burning in his eyes of this giant who is dressed in what looks to be very heavy chainmail and is wielding what looks to be a spiked, nasty club to one side. And his eyes are peering out from under this sort of helmet that he is wearing. He's just standing silently, basically right next to Claudius. And then there's 4 of the guys you have seen outside. So you have seen 5 guys, at least Tarkala has. So there must be one more guy somewhere missing, basically. But there's 4 men. 2 of them look Ambrian, 2 of them look barbarian, dressed in leather armor with arrows notched. 2 of them have arrows notched. The other 2 are wielding spears, basically pointing them in your direction. 2 with the spears have entered the room. So they're standing to the left and the right, basically, of Claudius and this undead creature. And the other 2 with the bows are still in the corridor. One of them is kneeling and has like an arrow notched, not necessarily drawn back, but notched, getting ready to fire it. And the other one is basically a step behind him, standing and shooting, ready to shoot over his shoulder if necessary. And that is the situation. That is where we left off, and that is where we find our heroes in this little predicament, as the way back is blocked and the way forward is kind of also blocked. So we'll see what comes of this as we are jumping straight into the game. Now, Claudius, skull under his arm, is looking at you, pushes his hood back that was concealing his face. He says, "Long time no see." And you see a little bit of a grin curling over his lips. There still seems a little bit of the old Claudius that you know in his face. However, the eyes burn with the passion of a fanatic, which is something you have never seen with Claudius before. But then again, you haven't seen him for about 2.5, nearly 3 months.
I stare at Claudius wide-eyed, not quite believing what I'm actually seeing, and ask him, "Claudius, you're still alive?"
Yes, as you can see, Odd, I am. I have survived after I have been left behind. I have seen many things and been to many places and found, alas, as you can see, or maybe I should say, servants. He sort of makes a fist, and the undead creature next to him looks over to him, raises the spiked club, and sort of bows towards him. May I present? This is Tanfals.
And who or what is that precisely?
Long story. I am not sure if we have the time for this, but I'll try to make it short. Remember Odako, the Black Cloak? I'm sure you do. Well, turns out he wasn't a Black Cloak at all. Turns out his name was Barmello, of course. That was the name he used. Turns out Barmello is dead, the real Barmello. Odako was a leader of a cult living in a village at the border of Davokar, who took, after he had murdered the witch hunter, the Black Cloak, took his position. So the people we killed, or the people who were killed in Thistlehold, were no real Black Cloaks. I hope that makes you feel better. This man, Tanfals, was the cult's former leader, murdered by his, right hand, Barmello or Odako. Now, it seems, he looks down into the skull, and you can see the skull's eyes blazing red through these leather wraps that are basically mostly covering it. It seems that the skull of the king still has some power left. It has shown me much. Visions of former grandeur and promises of riches and power.
I sort of shuffle nervously on my feet, looking over the relatively large number of people there, seeming pretty nervous and uncertain.
Yeah, the
sort of
humans who are with him seem kind of insecure. You can see they're like exchanging quick glances and fingering their weapons nervously. And one of the archers seems especially shaky. A blonde, sort of youngish fella who you have seen before as when you were in your animal form.
So, are you now working for the king or working with the king?
We have an alliance, I suppose. I have promised to return him to his resting place, and he in exchange has shown me the riches that wait within, and not just riches, my friends, power. The power to change the world.
And these words, Odd's eyes seem to glisten a bit, and he starts unconsciously salivating a small bit.
Gudrunald looks to his party and goes, "Who the fuck is this guy?"
Yes, why don't you introduce us?
This is your replacement,
Yeah,
Gudrunal.
I thought so. Well, I can tell you one thing. Claudius Ignatius Landis III is not easily replaced.
The damn camera zoom keeps getting me.
Well, it appears you have been replaced, so the fuck do you want
There
with
you go.
us?
I mean, if you're gonna return something, you should always return things that get taken. I can jive with that.
Indeed.
So why don't you go ahead and open the door up, and we'll leave you guys alone.
There's one small problem, you see. We don't know how.
Oh, you just yank on it. We were just getting ready to, but
Of course. Why don't you open it?
We have no clue how to open it either. We
It's a door.
just...
You just yank it open, right, Victor?
yeah, we just yank it open.
So go ahead. No?
No, I'm good. You're the one with the skull. I don't want to take the glory from you. It's a really nice door. Looks pretty satisfying to open,
Oh, I am afraid, my old friend, that I must insist quite firmly. Give it a good push, or a yank, whatever you prefer.
Oh, jeez.
Well, as we are now in this predicament, have you also noticed what happened outside of these halls?
Yes, of course. I have. I have seen it.
And has this darkness of the depths of Davokar also some kind of connection to the venered king whose skull you are returning?
I do not think so, but I am not sure. You see, the skull cannot speak to me in words. It can only show me flashes. Maybe my mind isn't strong enough, or maybe there's too much time between us. Me that this area was once bereft of trees when he was still alive, before Davokar.
And has the skull also shown you some images about a being called Xanatha, or the White Lady?
No, I know not what you speak of. Who is this White Lady?
Perhaps we can share information if we talk a bit about how we can all get out of here in a friendly manner without any unnecessary roughness.
Oh, in ill will, except for maybe my placement. But tell me, How is it that you are here? Thistlehold is quite a bit away. Don't tell me you followed me.
Well, as much as we would like to claim this honor, we are not such good trackers. You see, after you were gone from Thistlehold, we presumed you dead, and as we couldn't find any traces of you anymore, we continued to live our lives until recently we got hired by Ordo Magica to search for an expedition that went missing in these parts.
Yes, well, I have seen the bodies in the tomb. I suppose you found the expedition, or what's left of it.
Well, we found some other curious stuff as well. As Tarkala so eloquently put it, we have quite some interesting information we stumbled upon.
Well, we are old friends after all. How about you share that information?
Are we
Well,
all friends?
Well, of course. Could you please tell your other acquaintances to lower their weapons a bit?
Yes,
Makes
pointing
me a bit
arrows at us
nervous.
is not particularly friendly now, is it?
Well, we are old friends. I don't believe they get the honor of me. So,
You don't have control over your own men?
well, let's just say I know what you can do. Especially you two. And he points at Odd and Trikala.
Oh, really? Because I've picked up a few new tricks.
Oh,
We bear you no ill will, Claudius. Why? You said we were old friends. At
maybe we
least
are.
we are, aren't we?
Of course. Which is why I have not killed you.
It's the same reason we're
I
not
see.
killing you, Claudius.
Well, that's rather generous and kind of you, my friend Claudius. Is there something that you would like from us, or can we now part as friends and go about our business?
Two things, really. Two simple things, right? Within your power. One, you mentioned interesting information. I would be eager to hear it. And two, why don't you open that pesky door for me? Surely, two magic users of your skill would have little problem, or such a valiant
Flattery
knight.
will get you nowhere, Claudius. The door is trapped. None of us is touching it, and we don't know how to open it any more than you do. So
I have seen
let's
that
just stop with this
before, so-
silliness.
I agree. So,
And how about we discuss this information that we have somewhere a bit more open? Dark
no,
spaces make
I
me
think this is
nervous.
a good place for discussing this information. A very good place, in fact.
Yes, well, for you, certainly.
Well, for me.
Well, okay. I slowly and non-threateningly rise up from the ground and stand or walk to stand beside Tarkala.
Okay.
Well, old friend, you know, we didn't walk immediately to this tomb. First, we searched the base camp of the expedition, which we found a tower. Although there were no members of the Ordo left, instead we happened upon a tribe of goblins.
Yes, we have seen them. I had no wish to mess with them.
Yes, luckily our good friend Tarkala was able to speak with them and tell them that we also meant them no harm. And then we met one human left within the tower. He seemed a bit crazy.
Was he a member of Ordo Magica then?
Well, I think he was one of the guards. However, he seemed quite crazy and kept talking on and on about this weird being called the White Lady.
Yes, there are
Whom he-
other things here looking to gain entry into the tomb.
Yes, this might very well be. He claimed that this strange being protected him from the darkness and the corruption of Devokar, which spread all around this whole area. He claimed this White Lady came down from the heavens, was sent by Prios, and blessed him with her kiss.
Of course.
And I think after that, Victor talked with him and also had a vision where he saw this very being.
Wait, and I sort of put a hand on his. I sort of give Odd a little bit of a bump. Yes, there's more to this, but the bottom line is that she's promised us to open the door if we perform some task with her. Us, not
Here's
you.
the thing.
We're more than willing to help you out here, but she's not going to deal with you. So I suggest if you want this door open, you let us out of here so that we can go about our business and open the door for all of us to share in whatever treasures lie within.
Give me a
My old friend.
Give me a discreet check.
All right, that's I gotta get a 10 on that. Just a sec.
So, and it is a 10.
Yeah, 4 levels of success.
Okay, nice. He looks at you for a couple of seconds, and then he smiles. It's interesting. What task did this being put on you? And Victor, you actually saw it? You spoke to it?
Yeah,
That's
she's pretty nice. Basically, her mom and dad had their nectar, life water,
As you say this word, you can see Claudius' eyes go wide.
locked up in here in the tomb, right?
Yes, that is what was promised to me.
Who promised you? The
Fine.
skull. Your skull. But here's the thing. We're supposed to meet her at this pit. This giant sinkhole. It's like a half day's travel that way, and I kind of point. I say, but we need to meet her there.
And why did you come here first?
You know these guys, right? Come on. I was trying to be like, hey guys, let's go see the spider, and they were like, no, I don't want to see the spider. Talk to you.
She's shown some hostility towards my kind before.
And besides that, I do not trust a being which I can see, but our good friend Victor, honorable as he might be, has no problems receiving visions of. He is a good man, but not the most resilient of mind, if you know what I mean.
I give out a dirty look.
I wouldn't, no. So, do you say this is a spider, this white lady, and you say you bargained with this spider already?
Not even bargained. She was just really nice. Definitely one of my top 5 people. She's very nice to me.
What task did she set you? You say she knows how to open the gate?
But we're going to go to the sinkhole first.
Well, we were to meet her at this location, and then she was to tell us more of the task that she wished us to complete. So I believe it would be in all of our best interests if we get there as quickly as possible so that we can receive the rest of the task from her in order to honor our side of the bargain so that she will open the door for us.
I see.
Furthermore, she claimed that the darkness of Devokar, which is here in this area, is concentrated into one being, one thing she called the Black Wing, and she claimed this being was also after...
Once again, the Black Wing was the name of the ship you arrived on?
Oh, sorry.
I just think of it like the smoke monster from Lost. That's all I can think of.
No idea. Never seen Lost.
She did give it a name, right? The goblins named it the Creeping Darkness?
I don't think she did give it a name.
Oh,
I mean,
okay,
you
sorry.
wouldn't have heard it anyway. If at all, if she did give it a name, Victor might have heard it, but he clearly has forgotten.
Guys, I'm not very smart.
Okay, sorry. However, as far as Victor told us, this venered white lady also claimed that the darkness moving around in these areas of Davokar is kind of a living being and also searches the prize she's after.
Yes, I have seen it.
Ah, you have. Well, and you're not friends with it, right?
No.
All right. Well, this white lady here wants to kill it and fight it because it's bad. So
Listen, I don't really care one way or the other what happens to whatever the hell is in this tomb unless there's some sort of treasure in there. Whatever god nectar essence thing, I don't give two shits about it. I just want to return safely to Thistlehold, retrieve my reward, and never have to deal with this sort of nonsense again.
That's not like you, Takala. There's riches in the tomb. There's magic.
Oh, well, that I'm certainly interested in, but whatever god things are in here, you can have them.
Listen, I have promised my companions here their share of the reward, and they will receive it. I only claim the divine nectar for myself, and I believe the king himself be more than happy to part with his belongings if we restore him to his former rest. So I think we can all win out in the end, right?
That sounds very reasonable. Is there also, you mentioned that there are not only riches and power in the tomb, but also ancient knowledge,
Yes.
forgotten information?
I only saw flashes, but I saw weapons, and I saw a book or two, and chests and such. Strange things, writings on a wall in a language I have never seen before. So I'm sure. I mean, was what Ordo Magica was after, right?
Now, listen here, though, Claudius. I don't mean any particular offense by this, but we all know that you're the sort who would probably slit your own mother's throat and leave her bleeding out in an alley. How can we have some sort of assurance that you're not just going to stab us in the back the second that you have what you want?
Oh, I know that you're not easy to prey. It would be foolish of me if we can work together. Why would I? Ordo Magica is out of the picture, right? So fuck them.
Well, if this thing that you are consorting with grows in power and strength, how do you know it won't just snuff out whatever's left of your mind like a little candle and do with us whatever it wants to?
Give me a vigilance check to call.
Okay. Depending on the difficulty, that would be one level of success.
Let's see, the difficulty would be 0.
All right.
So 1 level of success, yeah?
Yeah. Or wait, 2, I guess, because 14 is my vigilance. So.
No, that's 1 level.
Okay, 1. Got it.
Just a success. There's no levels.
I see.
It doesn't really matter. Okay, so he, you see Claudius hesitate down for a split second, but then it is again gone and replaced with this hungry glare, this fire that seems to be burning within him. He says, "Oh, the king, he would not do that. The only thing he wants is his rest, right? He's been taken from his resting place by the Flayer and his companions."
Yes, that sounds reasonable. However, if the king only wants to return, why did he try to possess us as we were freeing him from the Flayer and his companion?
I don't know the king's mind, but If I would guess, I would just say he saw us as a better opportunity to flee. Well, as he did, right?
So, hold on here a second. Say we work with you. Do you have a way to open this door that doesn't involve some of us dying?
No. That's why
Right.
we are talking, right? It's a negotiation. I don't know if you're familiar with the word.
Well, if it involves some of us dying, I'm inclined to have some of you die. So,
Now, threats are really not nice, and my friends here are nervous enough. Without such harsh words, I'd suggest keeping your mouth shut from now on and let me and my old friends talk.
well, I'm growing tired of your talking, so can we reach a conclusion, please?
Where did you find this guy?
Well, you know, when you went running off into Davokar to build tree houses or whatever it was you were doing, we had to make do with what we found.
Oh, fuck you.
Oh, well, I suppose this is a product of the gutters of Thistlehold, I suppose.
Well, we
thought
don't.
my replacement was someone a bit more, well, special, right? About, I suppose, you. Yeah,
You're irreplaceable, Claudius.
well,
We don't know. We don't know for sure. He was provided to us by the Ordo.
Oh,
Yeah, they let anyone in there basically. You know?
Yeah, fuck you too.
I mouthed him. I'm sorry.
now, clearly we all want the same thing, right? We want to open that door without dying, preferably.
Indeed.
So, what is your idea? You said this
Well-
spider's white lady knows a way.
Yes, I
That
would
at
suggest
least
that you
you
let
can.
us go and meet her, so that we can receive this task from her that we've agreed upon. She can tell us how to open the door, and then we can meet you back here with that information.
Well,
Or
I
you
still
could
don't trust
follow
that
along.
white lady.
Well,
I don't think it is. It might help us succeed in our task of opening the door, but it might as well be a trap, and this white lady just wants to kill us.
We're gonna die if we stay here. So I mean, like, I'd kind of rather see a big spider before I die. You know, like big spider, crazy friend, big spider, crazy friend, big spider. Let's take our chances.
Victor, why would we die? This is our old friend Claudius. He recognized us.
You can see
He
the look in his
certainly
eyes.
would kill us, would he?
I kind of look at Claudius, like that look in his eyes. I'm like, he might. I say we talk to the white lady, see what her deal is, and go from there. Because, I mean, you were bleeding on the floor a second ago, almost dead. So, I mean, you know, door trap or spider trap?
Here's the question, though. Will this Claudius guy let us leave and go talk to the spider person?
I'm thinking it's a little tricky to trust you with that.
How about you follow along, then?
That wouldn't change much.
I say, Claudius, you know me, man. And I like it. Like, you know, we're both androids, bro. Secret handshake and all. I wouldn't lie to you.
Yes.
We're gonna go. You can come with us if you want. You can stay here if you want. We're not gonna fuck you, I promise.
Give me a persuasive check.
It's my time to shine. Any modifiers on that?
Let's see. The modifier would be -1.
Hot damn, I got a 5. Pass.
5, nice. Claudius stares at you for a couple seconds. I suppose. But I need some reassurance that you'll return and honor our deal.
Yes.
Remember the amulet that Taned gave me in the very first episode?
Yeah.
I pull it out and I say, this amulet. Remember the young girl from the Witch Hunter? She gave it to us? Well, we went to the Ordo Magica. Huh?
He was no witch hunter, but I remember.
A phony. Well, we went to the Ordo Magica, and it's a very powerful magical artifact. Worth a lot of money. But we're not sure what it does yet. But either way, it'd be worth a lot to someone. It has a lot of sentimental value to me. I mean, you were there for it.
Afraid that's not quite enough.
Just throw the goblin under the bus. It's just not here to defend yourself. I mean, I don't know what to say. I can offer you. I don't have a lot of valor on me, but.
How about I keep one of you here? Clearly you, Victor, have had dealings with this white lady before, and I trust you the most, so I won't keep you here, and my replacement is worthless as any type of reassurance, and many other things, or so it seems. So that leaves Tarkala and my good friend Odd.
I mean, I think we really need a full team if we're going to be going to do this. I don't.
And what's to stop you from walking away? Running back to Ordo Magica? Or, I don't know, trying to ambush us or something nasty like that?
You've tracked me down to here. I guarantee you can track me down again. I mean, look at me. And I kind of ruffled the feathers I have on me. You're going to find me.
What were we to gain from such a foolhardy action? You clearly aren't hostile towards us. You are our old friend.
Changing people's minds and hearts. So, and I know that some of you do a lot of things for knowledge. So, I don't know, maybe you decide, hey, our old friend Claudius, we shouldn't share with him. Maybe we can jump him and his cronies on the way back once we've learned how to open this gate.
I mean, sure, but we're going to be too weak. If there's anything inside there they have to fight, we're going to be weak. I'd rather have a full team going in there. You know what I mean? All of us together.
Yeah, we'll go in there together, of course. It's just, first we need to open this door, right?
Yeah. But if I kill you, that just gives me less backup when I finally go in there, you know?
Aside from that, is this door the only way into the tomb? We heard some weird noises from that other corridor.
Yeah, there's.
We're not going to go down.
But Ordo Magica built a bridge over a chasm in another room. However, there's something down there.
And the weird noises? Are these more of your servants?
No, as I said, there's something down there in that chasm.
We're not going to mess with it. We're gonna leave that alone because.
I think so too. Yes.
I think so too. Anything in a chasm in the deep dark forest, we're going to leave alone. But how say you to our deal here?
Well,
I need you. You need me.
That's kind of true, I suppose.
And we've been traveling for weeks to get out here. You think we're just going to turn around and run now? I have less money when I came here. I lost money on this. I'm not coming back empty-handed.
Oh, you've gained some equipment since last we saw each other.
I have a cool thing to kill people, and I have cooler armor.
Well, most of this we gained from the money or part of the reward the Ordo gave us for finding their lost expedition. Clearly, there is much more to gain here than by merely returning to Thistlehold empty-handed.
I mean, think of we're gonna be cast out. You know, I traveled all the way out here, and then I just went home. Come on, They're gonna look down at us like this hole.
So you saying I just let you go? You go talk to this spider, or whatever it is. You come back. You open the gate. We all walking together.
Yeah, Ambrian's honor.
I would rather suggest you follow us along to this spider in case
No,
it
Odd.
is a dark being which is setting a trap.
Odd.
And
Ambrian's
aside
honor.
from that,
No, I think not. I'd rather stay here and keep an eye on the tomb. Who knows what might happen?
Ambrian's honor. I promise.
He gives you a stern look. Give me another persuasive check, Victor.
Another pass. That was a 4 this time.
4. Wow. Okay. He looks at you for several seconds. You can see the weird flickering. Maybe it's madness or just something else. Maybe it's just a greed. You're not quite sure. There's definitely something very, very intense in his gaze. Then he nods. He says, "Very well then." One of the guys with the spear, gruff, bearded fella. "Boss, are you sure?" "Quiet. Belton, you'll have your say later. Now, we'll leave our friends here. We'll make camp not far out. I'll let you go. And I hope you come back quickly after you have talked to this white lady of yours.
Of course.
So you'll have the information that you need to open this gate.
I wouldn't lie to you, Claudius.
Make a deal. We'll all be rich. Well,
And
some-
famous. And famous.
Yes, of course. Well, I don't desire fame in Thistlehold, but as I said, the only thing I want is the nectar. Everything else, I'm happy to share with you. Now, gentlemen, you've heard the deal. Time falls. Let's go. Give us a moment, yes? He starts
of
backing
course.
away. So still facing you, the undead creature with an angry glare, and you can see red light somewhere deep within its eye sockets. It's fallen in, and it's very thinly stretched and half decayed face. And then it turns around, walks off. The two guys with spears following, still pointing the spear tips at you, and they all disappear down the corridor and then around the corner out of sight.
Odd. We're running. We're not going anywhere. We're getting out of here. I lied to him. I lied to him about everything. I'm running. I'm done. Want to go home.
I couldn't hear anything you said. You were very quiet.
Oh, sorry. That was me trying to whisper. I'm going to whisper this because I don't want to shout it and have an echo. I say, Odd. We're running. We're going home. I'm not having any part of this. I'm done. I lied about everything to him.
I'm staring at Victor wide-eyed and then whisper back to him, "You can't be serious. I know
Odd, we were going to die.
you of all of us are the most honorable. You gave your word, and besides, he promised us that there is ancient knowledge in this tomb and riches untold, maybe even more information and secrets than I can gather than by joining the Ordo Magica."
Do we just kill him when we get outside then?
Why would you kill Claudius? He's our old friend. He has done us no harm.
Claude, seriously, are you that trusting of everything?
Yeah, I mean, you just saw him trust me, and like, look, I just said I want to kill him, so
Let's just get out of here.
fine.
I have a plan. If you're willing to
We
hear
can
it.
discuss this when we're far away from this place.
One thing, real quick. I bought a ghost candle.
Mhm.
May I light my ghost candle?
You certainly can.
I light my ghost candle.
Okay. Candle lights up, and this heavy smoke with very little scent, actually, just this heavy grayish smoke starts slowly billowing up from the candle, and it's nearly weirdly, even though there's no wind, it starts to sort of slowly spread out in the room. Now, this takes several minutes, so you're all watching in silence as the smoke drifts away into the small dark corners of the room. Nothing happens.
Damn. Okay. It was worth a try.
Well, then let's go and talk to your spider lady, Victor.
Let's go.
All right. So you leave the tomb.
Yep.
It is sort of mid-afternoon-ish or so. Now, maybe 3 o'clock or so. Outside, the sun is slowly starting to set. It's still fairly light, though. And you can see two of the two closest friends sort of standing in the distance, peering at you and the entrance of the tomb from the bushes about maybe 150 feet or so away. One of them sort of half up a tree and the other one on the ground. They're not particularly trying to hide, but they're definitely keeping an eye on either you or the tomb. Not sure where the rest are.
All right, let's go find my girlfriend, my new girlfriend. Which way is the sinkhole? We have the map, correct?
The sinkhole, yes, you have a map. I'll move you over to that map in a second in roll 20. The sinkhole is, from where you are, it's pretty much straight west.
Sweet.
And probably about a good half day's journey or so. So you probably wouldn't be able to make it like on this very day.
Right. Well, then let's move away from this tomb and find us some somewhat safe spot for a camp.
Okay.
It might just well be our luck to get jumped again by the horrors of Dabokar. Tarkala, what were these goblins saying? Might it be a wise choice to return to their tower and seek shelter for another night?
You won't be able to make it back, I'm afraid. It's you walked a good 5-6 hours to get here from the ruined tower.
It's like
How much more daylight do we have left?
Good 4 hours, maybe.
All right. Yes, I think that we should move as far as we can before night falls. I don't particularly like the area around this tomb too much either. And that would allow us to put some distance between us and our friends.
Old friend.
Nice. Peer at the two that are sitting there watching us.
All right, let's go.
Okay, so you set out west, basically?
Yeah. And as we're leaving, I am like sort of very carefully looking out to try to see if we're being trailed, if someone's following us.
Yeah. Vigilance check with a -3.
2. So that's a lot of levels of success still.
They do follow you for a little bit, couple 100 yards or so, and then they don't. They stop.
All right.
Probably just want to see what direction you're going or whatever.
Once I'm satisfied that no one is, following after us, I sort of turn to the others and say, I don't think that was our friend Claudius who we were speaking to. Not exactly. I saw something in his eyes. I saw a flicker of him, of the old Claudius. But believe me, he is not in control of himself. I felt that thing's mind too, and I don't believe that there is a whole lot of our friend that was really talking to us in there just now. We should be careful. Well, obviously that goes without saying, but just know that we are not really dealing with our friend anymore.
Well, if you say so, Tarkala, I certainly believe you. You know way more about the workings of the mind than I. However, if we were really talking to the old king, why did he not simply control us or kill us? Why search
My
out his
theory
minds?
at least, is that he does not have the ability to control all of us at once. I think that he can probably only exert hold over such complete control over one mind at a time, but of course, I have no way of knowing this. This is pure speculation. And I shrug.
Okay. As you're moving west, you walk for a good 2 hours or so, and then come upon another one of those long lines of death. Basically, these black trees, black leaves, dead moths, and other small animals just lying on the ground or hanging from the trees. You push through it, and there's a couple of maybe 100, 200 yards, and then another one of those, very close together. But you manage to push through both of them without any noticeable effect on you, except on your nerves maybe. And then you come very soon after, about maybe 15, 20 minutes after, you come upon what looks to be 2 stone columns. They're sort of both half broken and toppled and mostly overgrown. Another one of the many ruins that seem to litter this area.
How much daylight is left?
Well, you walked for about 2.5, 3 hours now. So maybe about an hour and a half.
Let's pack it up here.
Okay. This looks like a good spot for a camp.
All right. Before we set up camp, I sort of staying within as much within eye and earshot as the others as I can. I sort of sweep around the area, looking, checking to see if anything seems out of the ordinary, or if there's any obvious signs of some sort of nasty creature that we might not want to settle down near.
Another vigilance check.
4 levels of success.
All right. No signs of. I mean, this is Davokar, but no immediate signs of any nasty thing nearby.
Okay.
All right.
The ruins are only those 2 stone columns, or is there some other stuff as well?
No, there's just the 2 columns. Everything else that might have been has crumbled away or has been completely swallowed up. You see some like patches of ground that are sort of mound-like. It's like vines and leaves and moss and mushrooms growing on top. So there might be like other pieces of stone hidden by the vegetation. But those are the only 2 you see. And even those are heavily basically encased in vegetation.
Okay, and how big are those columns?
You mean tall or wide?
Both, essentially. Would it be possible, for example, for us to climb on top of them and camp on there?
I mean, sure, but you wouldn't have much space. The columns are maybe about 10 feet wide or so. Not even, like 7, 8 feet wide. So it's like, especially for you, Odd, that would be very tricky. I mean, the chance of falling off in the night or something like that would be fairly high.
How tall?
Yeah.
One of the columns is maybe about 15 feet tall. The other one maybe about 20.
Yeah, not worth that.
Am I small enough that I could potentially hang out up there, or would I also fall off? All right.
Yeah, maybe one of you could have enough space. I mean, it's a bit risky, sort of, because the top of the column isn't like a smooth, even surface. It's more like broken and slightly maybe even slanted to one side a little bit on parts. But it could be done.
Well,
I could either shapeshift and then hang out up there, or I could just take my watch up there, I guess, to have a bit more of a vantage point.
I'd rather have you
would
down here
suggest-
in case the fight breaks out.
I would suggest that whoever takes the watch climbs atop the tower or atop the column to have a better position and to see a bit farther into.
I mean, yeah, it depends on who it is, right? So, I mean, I'm fairly decent at ranged combat and not a big fan of having people up in my face, whereas Victor, with all of his armor, might not want to be up on top of a big column if some shit goes down.
I stab good.
Yeah, and you're stabby with your.
Well, I still would suggest that whoever holds the current watch climbs up to see danger coming from a bit earlier than from down here.
It wouldn't really give you too much of an advantage because the issue with the site is the tree trunks in the way, basically.
Yeah. So,
And most of the tree trunks are way higher than the columns.
Okay.
So you would see maybe a little further, but not much.
Well, I'll take first watch, I suppose. So I sort of ask for Odd's help to sort of get me up on top of the column, and I will choose to stand up there during my watch and come back down when I'm done.
Yeah. Okay, give me a quick check, Takala.
All right. Shit. What is my quick? Just a sec. Yeah. No.
Okay. Even with Odd's help, the vines around the column and the little branches and stuff are deceptively weak. So you think you thought they would be way more sturdy, but they seem to snap and break under your hands as you try to climb, and you basically slide back down, not hurting yourself, but maybe getting a bit of like basically dead and not so dead vegetation on your face and your clothing.
I sort of curse and splutter, brushing this stuff off of me, and I'm like, fine, it's probably not the good sight up there anyway, whatever. And I, take my bow out and just start pacing around, keeping watch.
Okay.
Wait, Terkala, you can change your form, can't you? You could
Yes,
use
indeed,
that
I could.
to get up there.
And indeed, I could if I felt it was particularly important, but risking corruption here in the depths of Dark Davokar might not be the wisest choice. I'll just keep an eye on things from down here.
Well, as you say, with that, I start pitching up my tent at the base of the column, basically with one end of the tent smack down to the column.
Okay.
So that I'm protected from at least one direction.
Yeah.
And then, what do we have something to eat and to drink with us?
I'm pretty sure you have a lot, actually.
Yeah, we've got the rations and that stuff, and start building a small fire and digging heartily into food and drink.
Okay, so you will make a fire.
Well, unless one of the others is stopping me, I'm starting to build a fire.
Yep. Okay, you have a good hour of daylight left, but I suppose the days have been tricky, so you are thankful for a bit of rest. You cannot help but feel unseen eyes watching you from the brush, as this is the first time in quite a while, and the first time ever for pretty much all of you, that you are actually having to camp out in the night in Dark Davokar.
All right.
Okay. So you settle down, you have a fire going, you have a watch posted, you have had dinner, and you are settling down for sleep. So who's taking the first watch?
I'll take
Me.
it.
Or
Tarkal?
okay. Either way.
So which one?
Victor?
I'll take it.
Okay, Victor
All right.
takes the first watch. Second watch?
I'll take the second watch.
Okay. Third watch?
How many watches do we need to get through the night? Are 3 enough?
Don't know how long the watches are. The night's a good 10 hours or so. So if you have 3 watches, each watch would be like 3 hours.
2.5. There's 4 of us.
Yeah, that works.
Okay. I'll take third watch.
Okay. And obviously Gudrunal will take fourth then, I suppose.
Yeah.
All right. You settle down. You have some trouble falling asleep, Victor. While during your watch, you can see all 3 of your companions tossing and turning, sort of looking up, listening into the darkness. You can hear the fireplace. It's surprisingly quiet. Very little animal sound. A few birds, a few night birds. Oh, it sounds like a woodpecker somewhere in the distance. That's pretty much it. and the gentle whispering of the leaves in the trees. Your watch passes without any incident, and during the end of your watch, you realize, okay, my companions have finally fallen asleep. Sadly, you have to wake Trikala, who will not be happy being woken after basically maybe had a half an hour sleep at the most. They're now shaken by Victor's hand.
All right. Yeah, I get up and
You take off?
I watch.
Okay. Trikala, as you are about an hour or so in your watch, you're just taking in everything, sort of facing away from the fire, and then you can hear a rustling sound. And from the bushes, coming towards you. You stop, and you stare, and you see the bushes slowly parting, and a large, hairy, like furry head appearing, of the head of some sort of bear-like creature, is staring at you from about maybe 25, 30 feet away. You can see a little bit of firelight, which is behind you, reflecting in its eyes. It's looking at you. Doesn't seem to be coming closer, though. You can see its nostrils shaking as if it is taking in air. There's no sound coming from it. You recognize this creature. This creature is a Biogorn, which is basically like a bear-like creature. Some barbarian clans actually use them as war beasts. And you do know that they're usually not super aggressive unless they're hungry or you enrage them, and then they get really dangerous once they are wounded and angry, basically.
All right. Are my companions, like, are they near me? Are they sleeping near me, or
around? I mean, they're not within touching distance as such, but they are close.
All right. Well, I sort of, holding my bow, just sort of take some very, very close, slow, careful steps back.
As you move, the creature's lips are pulled back, and it gives you a deep growl.
I just sort of stop and just stand still.
It looks at you. Maybe a minute or so passes, and then it looks away suddenly. You can see its nostrils quivering, and it turns and disappears. You can hear it sort of trampling down the bushes, much faster and much more noisy than its approach was.
All right. I continue to keep a careful eye around the surroundings for until my watch is over, or until something bad happens. All right. Ah, man, nah.
No? Okay. So you're looking around, and the only thing you notice is that the temperature seems to be dropping a little. It's like you feel a shiver, and you sort of, it's getting chilly here. And cover yourself a little bit more. Keep an eye out. But other than that, everything seems quiet. Even the night.
Haven't I noticed the temperature being unnaturally cold at some point recently? Where was that? I don't remember. All right.
Yeah, so even the night birds have stopped singing, so it's pretty quiet now.
Is it like an abrupt stopping singing, or?
You're not sure. You were so focused on the Biogorn.
Yeah.
Really recall when exactly they stopped singing. Just something that after, like maybe 15, 20 minutes after the creature has run off, so you're like, oh, okay, weird.
All right.
And but your night watch passes without further incident, and the temperature after a while seems to be getting a bit warmer again.
Who's got the next one?
You went on.
when I wake him, I sort of tell him about the creature that I saw in the woods, and explain to him that I sort of, yes, something odd happened. It seemed rather cold for a moment. I'm sure it was nothing, but keep an eye out.
Of course, I grumpily wake up, free me of my tent, yawn a bit, and then, yeah, of course, Tricolour. I'll do my part.
All right.
Although
Sorry,
that
go ahead.
business with the temperature does sound a bit strange.
It was probably just a cold night breeze. I'm sure it was nothing. I'd be more concerned about that bear thing.
Well, from what you said, it wasn't that aggressive. Though, do you think it found or a trail of something to eat, or did it seem to you rather that it was running away in fear?
I couldn't say.
Well, best not to worry about it then.
All right. Odd takes the watch.
Yep.
Without any problems. Eventually, the night birds resume singing, and you wake. I think Gudrunal had the last one. Yeah, Gudrunal had the
Yep.
last one.
Yep.
So you wake Gudrunal after a while, who finishes the watch as the sun rises, basically. And you break camp. You have a quick breakfast, and are ready to go. Just after first light, pretty much.
Yep. I stow away my stuff, especially the tent.
Yep. So you continue further west, or you wish to go somewhere else?
Well,
That's it.
Peter, where did this white lady of yours say her hole was?
The sinkhole west from here. Got this,
Well,
guys.
All right.
I would suggest lead the way.
Yeah, I'll do it.
Okay. You continue pushing on, and you haven't walked far, maybe a couple hundred yards, when you come onto to another one of those black patches. And here you see something you have not seen before. There's frost on the ground, and on some of the dead trees, there's actually a layer of ice on some of the leaves, which is slowly melting in the morning sun. It's a little bit of water trickling down, basically, around you.
As
Better
I
hustle.
see this, I stare wide-eyed at the layer of frost, then at Tricolour, back at the layer of frost, back at Tricolour, until finally bowing down to her. Didn't you mention something about it getting a bit chilly last night?
Well, now that you mention it, yes. But not sure what to make of it.
Well, this really doesn't bode well. I mean, if this frost is responsible for killing off the trees, and if it is this what is connected with this creeping darkness your brethren in the tower spoke of, this might very well be the enemy of this mysterious white lady we are searching.
Perhaps, but I'm not really sure what to do with this information at the moment. If it were up to me, I would turn around and run right back to where we came from. But,
You
well,
mean
maybe that's still an
empty-handed back to
option.
Claudius? You mean
No,
empty-handed
not
back to Claudius?
to Claudius. Back to Thistlehold. I'm about tired of this nonsense.
Let's go check out what the white lady has for us, so that we can find out where to go after that.
Okay.
We've made it this far.
Well, if you are certain we can trust her, then of course, lead the way.
All right.
Okay, you continue on and pushing through 3 more of those layers of death, those lines caused by this blight beast or whatever it is crossing here. None of them have the layer of ice or frost at all, however. You push through the first, the second, the third, like half an hour maybe in between them approximately, and then continue for a good under 2 hours. So it's just before maybe about 10:30-ish, a good hour to hour and a half before noon, as you come upon an area where the trees are a little more sparse, and it looks like several of the trees have, which you only notice after a little bit, have fallen. So the trees have actually been growing here, the same density as you saw it somewhere else in other places, but several of the trunks have fallen over. Some of the trees have even broken, and you can see here and there the sort of twisted, gnarled roots pushing out of the ground, sort of still digging into the ground partially. So the whole area seems, because some of the trees have fallen, basically less intensely, less densely, what do you call that? Less densely vegetated, or whatever the word is. English is not my first language.
I don't really know what the word for it would be either. So.
Yeah, the vegetation's less dense.
Yeah.
Densely populated by vegetation.
Yes, that's basically the equivalent of the word populated is what I was looking for. But yes.
Okay.
So this you think, from what you can see on the map, that this must be sort of close-ish to the sinkhole. This area must be somewhere within this area, basically. Within basically maybe a couple hundred yards or a couple thousand yards at the most from where you are at the moment.
I'll keep an eye out for anything out of place.
You just continue heading west, or
yeah.
what do you want to do?
I'm gonna keep heading west, but I'm gonna slow down the pace a little bit and just try to keep an eye out.
Okay.
I'll let everyone know that I think we're getting close.
Did your girlfriend give you any more specific information of where to find this sinkhole of hers? And I start to look around, especially concerned with not exactly the sinkhole, but rather any sort of movement around us. Still not quite trusting the White Lady and fearing a trap.
Mm-hmm. And you do spot movement here and there, small animals, mostly birds and such. However, there are a few spiders, but that's not unusual in Davokar. You have kept seeing spiders here and there, not large ones, but some of them are as big as your fist, just sort of dangling down from nets or moving around on silverish webs that are between the trees. Maybe it's your imagination, or maybe there's more spiders here. You're not quite sure. Like you spot, maybe it's just because you're looking for them that you see them now in more frequently, basically. But that I don't mean frequent. It's not like everyone has a web with a spider or so. Yeah, there's spider webs here and there. And you continue walking, and then you see, after only about a couple of minutes or so, you see what looks to be the ruins of like an ancient keep, nearly. It's nearly completely crumbled and overgrown, but the vaguely sort of square circumference, the base walls are still there, heavily overgrown, but still visible. The pattern, so to speak, is still visible. And beyond that, not very far off, the forest seems to come to an end, basically. The trees, you don't see the trees anymore. It's just an open area behind the keep. And you figure that this must be where the sinkhole is, because obviously there would be no trees growing from the sinkhole. And that's maybe about 200 yards or so away from you, sort of northwest on the edge of your vision.
All right. Can I kind of approach the I guess I'll just keep going. Like I'm not afraid of anything right now.
Okay, so you walk past the keep, basically the remains of this ancient structure.
I fall back a bit, bow down to Tarkala, because I still don't quite trust the new guy, and whisper to her, keep a good eye out. I still don't trust this whole business with this white lady. Then slow down a bit more as we walk past the keep and look at it a bit more closely.
Okay.
Just in passing, but giving it a good look.
Give me a vigilance check. Okay. There's nothing out of the ordinary looking at the keep. It is crumbled patches of stone, fairly thick ones, but now heavily overgrown with vegetation. You spot the bones of some medium-sized animal, sort of half hidden under the vegetation, old bones, days, years, maybe decades old, I mean. That's all you see.
Shall I scout ahead?
Well, as you say so, you can see the trees basically only about 50, 60 yards beyond the keep disappear, and you can see the sinkhole opening up before you. You're still in the forest, so there's still a couple of layers of trees between you and the sinkhole, basically. The sinkhole seems about 100 yards across, so it's pretty large.
Shall I shapeshift and move closer by myself, or shall we approach it as a group?
Let's go as a group.
Well, Victor here seems to trust this white lady, whereas I still fear that we might walk into another trap. I certainly would welcome it if you could scout ahead, Tarkala. However, it might also be a bit unwise for you to risk yourself if there really is danger lurking ahead.
Then how about I just go?
Gudrunal, what do you think about it?
Well, I'd rather be somewhere that's not here, so fucking whatever.
Well, so you're just following us here because you don't dare walk back alone?
Who the fuck would walk through Davakar alone?
I'd rather go meet the giant spider lady than walk alone.
Yes.
Well, Claudius did, and he doesn't seem too bad
Claudius
off.
is possessed
Although
as fuck, and you're blind
Claudius is hardly Claudius anymore. Claudius is hanging on to a tiny little shred of Claudius. I wouldn't use him as a benchmark for what a particularly good idea is.
well, as you say, Tarkala.
Oh, I will do as you will. If Victor wishes to risk his neck, well, then that's perfectly fine with me. Otherwise, I'm more than happy to go on ahead. Or, Victor, I can conceal myself in your pocket or something of the like so that, I can...
It'd be nice. We can do that.
All right.
Okay,
I'll try to shapeshift and then hide in Victor's pocket.
Okay, what are you shapeshifting into? Like a rat or something, or?
Yeah, let's say a rat.
Okay. Yeah, you succeed. You take. Let's see how many points of temporary corruption you take.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh,
Well, that's a success. So
by the way,
Yes. So 1. Yes, your temporary corruption from yesterday have faded by now.
all right, good.
perfect.
Except for obviously permanent corruption, which did not fade.
Yeah, exactly. Which is 3, so I'm up to 4 corruption total.
Yep. Okay. So the Tarkala the rat climbs into like a little satchel on Victor's side, and you continue walking as a group towards the sinkhole. And you very soon realize the ground here is a little unstable, not terribly so, but there are deep cracks running through, and you realize that this sinkhole opened up quite recently. It's by no means an old sinkhole. This looks like something that might have happened maybe a couple of weeks ago at the most. There's still some like bare patches of ground and there's cracks. It looks like an earthquake or some sort of tremor ran through the area, broke open the ground, and then the sinkhole just collapsed inward. And then you reach the edges of the sinkhole itself, which seem strangely firm. The hole itself is about 100 yards wide, and looking down, it seems slightly more, maybe 120 or so in depth. The walls plunge down into darkness, not perfectly steeply, but I mean, it's not like a 90-degree angle, so to speak, going down, but it is fairly steep. There's very little vegetation, and most of the exposed rock on the side seems quite new. And the bottom of it, as far as you can tell from the sunlight streaming down, is filled with sharp-edged boulders and patches of trees that have basically collapsed in and been broken by the fall. Near the wall, it slopes in a way which makes the ground slightly unstable. There's definitely maybe a path to climb down there, but it's not an easy climb as far as you can tell on a first glance. And as you are standing there, gazing down, thinking about what to do next, we will take a break. So this is pretty much maybe halftime of our game tonight, maybe not. And our player characters are still alive. So they successfully waited the first potential deadly fight, but there's more to come. So 5-minute break, guys. Hang in. We'll be back very soon. So see you in a moment. Well, waiting for everyone else to show up. The weird camera movements, by the way, guys, that's not me. That's my webcam. It does that. I don't know how to switch it off, and it's kind of funny. So I'm happy with using that, even though it's can be quite random. Just in case you were wondering, like, what those weird movements were when it zooms in at my face and all that sort of stuff. That's just how it is.
Every once in a while, the tone becomes real dramatic, and it's great.
Yes. Yes. Dramatic zoom ins are my favorite. All right. It looks like we have Tarkala and Victor, or at least their players here. And Odd is also here. Okay. Looks like Martin is having some health issues there. So whenever you're ready to jump in, Martin, we're happy to have you. Otherwise, we'll just continue going without you for now. Okay, so you're standing on the edge of the sinkhole, and Gudrunal is hanging back a bit as he's shaking his head and definitely not going in there, basically.
I'm going to take a look and see if I can find like the safest possible way down.
Okay, give me a cunning check.
Oh, jeez. Yeah. Oh, damn, I passed that actually.
Okay, so you spot two paths. There is what looks to be a route that seems to be climbable, a fairly quick route, well, quick relatively, obviously, to get to the ground. It's a space where the rocks are a little bit more sturdy, and there seems to be a lot of hand and footholds. That's somewhere off to your right. And a little bit to your left, you actually see a pathway, a natural path that's sort of zigzagging its way along the sides, and seems to be, well, disappearing into the darkness, basically. This could be walked, however, it's much slower, obviously, than the climbing route.
You seriously want to go down there, Victor? I stare at him a bit wide-eyed.
Well, if the white lady's down there, yes.
Are we all together now? With me hiding in Victor's pocket?
Yes, yes, you are a rat. Gudrunal has basically told you now, no way I'm going in there, and just taken position to keep an eye out, basically up here. Climbed on one of the broken tree trunks, maybe about 20 or so yards behind you.
I make sure I pet Tarkala and I say, which way do you think we should go? Just with one finger.
Well,
Could you talk?
No, she can't talk. She is a rat at the moment. Rats.
Point to which way I should go.
Bite him once for yes and twice for no. Are there at the edge of the sinkhole any kind of more or less stable boulders or a tree trunk or something?
There's a couple broken trunks that should probably be able to carry weight, at least some weight.
Okay, perfect. And is one of them nearby either the climbing road or the zigzagging path?
There's basically rocks and pieces of tree, of shattered and broken tree, pretty much everywhere around the sinkhole.
Okay, because I've got climbing gear and grappling hook, and as well, and I'd like to still go the zigzagging path. However, secure myself on the edge of the sinkhole. So as I'm going down, and should I stumble, I have at least some kind of support.
Well, the rope that you are having, I'm guessing, is less than 120 yards. Which would be pretty impressive if you were to carry that much, but you don't. So the way all the way down to the bottom is about 120 yards. You can do that initially, but eventually you'll have to, probably after about like maybe a quarter of the way or so, you will have to untie yourself because the rope's simply not long enough.
Do I see spider webs anywhere?
I mean, the sun now is sort of being, it's about 11 o'clock maybe, so nearly completely overhead, sort of hitting at a very, very shallow angle, and you can't see much of the walls. You do see a little bit of the ground down below. You don't see any spider webs there now.
And can I see any maybe like, do the paths go to the same spot or do they go to different places?
No, they go to completely different places. The as I said, the climbing path is quite a way off to your right, maybe about 30, 40 yards. And the zigzagging path, you're not quite sure where exactly they end because they just sort of disappear in the darkness. You can only see maybe about the first like 15, 20 yards of the sides. The rest is just fairly dim. You can still make out very, very vague shapes of rocks and such, but nothing in detail.
Okay, nothing in detail. Zigzag would be easier.
Yes,
but
that's basically a walkable path. It's steep, but it's walkable from what you can see, or you can tell.
Climbing, the greater reward, right? We got to work harder for the greater reward. But I'll say, let's do climbing.
Oh, you with your high ambitions of honor, Victor. You know, sometimes you can drive us crazy with that.
Then why don't we just go back to empty-handed to Claudius?
We certainly can do that. With that, I start to take out a lantern and lighting it using a bit of oil. And then, so, are you still going on ahead?
Yep.
Well then, walk along, or are you intending to climb down there?
We'll climb.
You mean you'll climb?
No, I say we'll climb, and I pet Tarkala's head.
I give your finger a bite of warning.
Yeah, I'm gonna head for the climbing part.
Okay, so you follow the side sinkhole until you arrive to the part that you deem climbable.
I, on the other hand, walk towards the zigzagging walking path.
Split the party.
Well, you're not far away from each other. It's like yards. You can still see each other and sort of shout over to each other if you want to.
I'll start climbing down.
So are you guys basically carrying all your gear at the moment? Just out of sheer curiosity, like backpacks and weapons?
Oh shit, I would have had to have given my gear to Odd, wouldn't I have?
Well, you could have given your gear to Gudrunal. He can take have an eye on your gear.
Other than I usually have my weapons on me and my couple of things in my pocket when I shapeshift, but yeah. Most of my gear would be with Gudrunal then, I guess.
Okay. What about
I'm still carrying all of my gear.
Okay.
I start descending the footpath very, very slowly.
Okay.
And still, can I use my climbing gear to basically secure myself a bit, walk like 10, 15 meters, loosen up the stuff again, and basically make a very slow and careful descent?
Yes, you can, certainly.
Okay, then I'm going to try that.
Okay. Victor, what are you doing?
I'm gonna shed like the kind of like my camping gear, anything that's like that I don't need right now. Like mainly like I'll keep my like a little small satchel with like my potions and stuff in it, maybe a few rations.
Okay.
And I'll climb down.
Okay. So, Victor, that would mean is a quick check for you, please.
Hey, it's a success.
Okay. So you climb down maybe about a third of the way. It's a little tricky, but not too terrible. Kala is sort of holding on for dear life, just looking down into the darkness as the satchel that you're in sort of dangling at Victor's hip while he's climbing. But he has a fairly steady grip on everything. So yeah, and you have climbed, as I said, about a third of the way down. Odd, in the meantime, is above your heads in a bubble of light, and he's descending very cautiously, and the path is like zigzagging. So it's where you're sort of more at the direct line down, and so he's way above you, but he is perfectly fine. The path, you realize this odd, seems safe enough if you take your time. Walking it a bit faster or even running it would be very tricky. But as long as you take your time and with a little bit of your climbing gear and such, it is no problem at all, especially now that you can see properly. However, Odd, you very soon notice where you are. There's these weird strands of silvery, nearly silk-like material. Not many, but like one here, one there, and they're just like sort of sneaking their way across the rocks of the sides of this sinkhole, where you are anyway.
Don't like it.
Okay, I shout down towards Victor and Takala. Guys, did you see those strange strands also?
What? No.
At I just start squeaking irritably in his pocket when I catch wind of the fact that he said something about strands.
Okay. Yeah, you looking over, you can also see them vaguely because they're sort of slightly shimmering in the light of Odd's lantern.
The wrong way, guys. There's none near me, are there?
Okay, you continue going. Victor, give me another quick check, please.
Oh, no, so there's none near me, are there?
No, none near you.
You know what? No, I'm going to commit to this. I'm going to keep climbing down.
Okay.
Another quick check. Yeah, that one's a failure.
Okay.
I fall to my death.
You both die. You crush your collar underneath you and you break your spine. No, but, however, you do slip and you fall a good 30 feet, basically.
Jesus.
Just like, shit! And then you smack an outcrop of rock. And Takala obviously also falls.
Can I try to jump out or something?
Yeah, you can. If you want to, give me a quick check. You have, I believe, advantage, like roll.
Yeah,
two quick
basically,
checks.
I can roll that twice, yeah,
Or is
because
it
of
just
my...
for every quick check or just specific ones?
I can re-roll any quick check or any discrete check.
Cool. Cool.
Yeah.
Do you succeed?
12 and a 20. No.
Okay. So you try to leap out, but like one side of the satchel is too well closed, and you just sort of, one of your arms gets hung up, the claw sort of piercing the side of Victor's satchel, and, and falls down with him, basically. The satchel is like dangling up and then whoosh, being pulled down with Victor. As Victor hits the ground, and does this rocky outcropping, about maybe 2/3 of the way down, basically. And Takala, you also smash into it. And now we have the fun of reading up falling damage, for I have never had that before in Symbaroum.
I say hurry up, Odd. We're beating you.
Yeah, Odd, you see that, of course, on the side. Basically,
I just roll my eyes, typically. Aspiring for honor and then falling and breaking all his bones. And by the luck we have had the last days, smashing Takala in the process as well.
This is where we die.
Okay, so both of you give me a quick check to see how well you land.
All right.
Yeah.
Oh, not me, because I'm inside of the...
Yeah, you can still roll.
All
You
right.
gotta fail.
That should be a success, depending on the difficulty.
It's just straight up.
All right. That's one level of success then.
Okay, so Takala, you take 2 points of damage. Victor, you take 5 points.
No, it's not that bad.
Just straight up, you're just lying there. Your shout sort of pain echoing through the sinkhole.
Ow.
Is this outcropping anywhere near the zigzagging path, or is it...
Weirdly enough, it is. It seems like your path that's sort of zigzagging down, and the climb path seem to be nearly meeting up at the very bottom. Not quite, but there's just a couple of yards in between, basically. And you're like not even halfway down though. So you can see that your path is curling around and sort of heading into the direction. And they're about, as I said, about 2/3 of the way down. So there's still about good 30, 40 yards between them and the ground. Still fairly high up.
Okay, I'm further descending very cautiously and shout to them, guys, everything all right?
Good.
You hear it?
Okay, so you're still alive. Wait up, I'm coming down.
As you shout back and forth, Odd, you sense weird vibration in the air. And you look over to your left, and you can see one of those strands that are sort of sneaking down the side of the cavern, sort of moving, vibrating. And then, and at the very edge of your lamplight, you see something moving. It's down below at the edge of your path. And you realize there must be like a small cave or cavern opening there into the wall. And you see two white silverish legs appearing, long and sinuous. And then two more. And then these legs push at the side of the cavern, the sinkhole, and this massive white silverish spider body is pushed out. The body itself is as big as you, Odd. The legs are massive, curled up around the body for now, but you get the impression that these legs are several yards long each. 8 legs and 8 large black eyes staring at you, or at some of you anyway. You once again, Odd, you see this at the very edge of the firelight. Basically, okay. 2 eyes are up high, then there's 2 smaller eyes, and then there's like 2 massive eyes, and then 2 smaller eyes again. And you see 4 mandibles, 2 pairs, 2 large ones sort of hanging down from the sides, and 2 smaller ones, all doing this. And there's a little bit of saliva or slime or something sort of hanging down and hitting the rock on the side of the creature.
Okay, and this is basically between me and the others, or?
Pretty much, yeah. It would be between you and the others. Not perfectly like between, but it would be if you were to head for them, you'd have to pass by. This creature is now standing on the path. And it turns its body slightly. And then it hisses. And then there's something glimmering in its eyes. And you can all hear a voice in your head going, "Welcome. I have been waiting for you."
Are you the white lady?
I am Xanatha. I am the white lady, daughter of Uruki.
I say, milady, I'll be down there in a second. Just let me catch my breath.
Let me help you. She starts climbing towards you, and you can see where she's climbing, the webs around her seem to shift and move and grow, nearly as if they have their own mind. And they're sort of sneaking around the side as she's basically climbing like this towards you, and then the web strands extend and attach to this little outcrop that you are standing on now, and you and Tarkala. The spider retreats a little. Use this. I do not wish you harm.
I don't want to get hurt either. You're so much prettier in person.
You are the one who talked to me, yes?
Yep, it's me.
Welcome to my humble abode.
I like what you did with the place.
Can I communicate back telepathically?
Yes, you can. This creature is speaking in your mind, so you can actually speak to her. Or it.
But of course the others can't hear me because they're talking. But of course.
Right.
Yeah.
So we're
then I'll
each
just
talking
sit back
individually, telepathically with the spider.
Yes, but the others cannot hear what you're saying. You can obviously speak verbally with each other. Well, like, unless you're a rat.
Except for me. Yeah.
But
Okay.
not telepathically. The connection is two-way.
Okay.
And it's not only connecting Xanatha and the three of you, not the three of you amongst each other.
Right.
Okay. I start addressing the spider. How are you doing
Are you
this?
speaking in her mind, or are you speaking with your words?
Both. I'm distinctly thinking the words, but also speaking them for the benefit of the others.
Yeah.
How are you doing this? This is quite fascinating. I've never happened upon someone who
Doing
can
what?
speak with the rain.
How am I doing what?
Speaking to us in our mind, speaking to us over this wide distance to the circle where you spoke with Victor, protecting the old man from the creeping darkness the goblins told us about.
Yes. Well, I have lived many centuries. I have seen the threads of fate. They tremble as I weave the future. I have many skills.
Well, you don't look a day over 2 centuries, but we came to see you because my companions did not believe that I had spoken with you, and we went straight to the tomb, got caught up with some guys that we didn't want to be caught up with. I talked my way out of it. No thanks to you guys. And we came here, and I'm here to see you because you said you can help us get into the tomb, right?
Oh, you have seen the tomb. I
Yes.
see what is
And in
within.
fact, there's. Sorry.
I seek what is within. What was stolen from me, from my mother and father, from my people.
Stolen by whom? May I ask you?
Stolen by an upstart of your kind.
By an
Hiruan-Lo-Apak.
ogre? I look at him, at the spider wide-eyed.
Is that what they call your kind? No, I meant the one in the armor.
Ah, him. They call it human.
Do you mean Hiruan-Lo-Apak?
Yes, that is his name.
Well,
mean,
he's
not
sniffing
all
around
humans.
outside of your tomb right now.
Not your tomb, his
Or-
tomb.
Whatever's left of him, anyway.
His spirit is still here. I see.
Not that I trust you very much either, but I just thought you might want to know he's waiting until the tomb opens to take whatever's inside. So if your tomb opening involves, somehow remotely making the thing open up, I wouldn't necessarily recommend it.
I know. There is no way to open the tomb remotely.
Well, then how do we open it?
This spirit of this king, this human king, he is no real threat. There are other powers here. Powers touched by the darkness.
Well,
Is-
if he's no real threat, perhaps you wouldn't mind eating him for us, because he seems to be a bit threatening to us.
The spirit cannot be eaten.
Well, then eat all of his friends. I don't really care.
We must be cautious. Rippling,
Well,
touching one single strand, make the whole web move.
the spirit claimed that it only wanted to return to its tomb and return to its rest, which has been disturbed recently.
I find that unlikely.
As do I.
I would not trust him if I were you.
Well, again, I don't particularly trust you all too much either, but I suppose we don't really have much of a choice, do we? How exactly do you plan on helping us open this tomb, and what happens to us once it's opened?
I have no desire for any confrontation between us. In fact, I would like to help you. I wish to claim but what was mine long ago, what was stolen from me. Once that is returned to me, we can go our separate ways.
Yes,
I
that's what they
see.
all say, isn't it?
No,
And
not what they
and what-
promised me, goblin.
Well, that's what the other one promised us too. Just get what's mine and I'll let you go prancing off about your business.
I seek to harm you.
You know she could eat you, right?
what exactly is the purpose of this thing that was stolen from you? This nectar?
The nectar of the
Our
divine is a source of longevity and a source of energy to fuel whatever creature can claim it. I wish to return it from whence it came.
I see. And what exactly is the purpose of this divine essence? Does it merely prolong someone's life, or does it also give some sort of power? Because the spirit, or the spirit of the old king, was carried by a former friend, a friend we've last seen months ago, and a friend who claimed that he has forged an alliance with the spirit, that the spirit merely wishes to rest, and that he wanted to acquire this very same essence of the divine you spoke about.
Humankind cannot claim the essence of the divine. The nectar would destroy him. It is not meant for his kind.
I have one question for you. You seem like you're probably able to eat all of us in one fell swoop if you so chose. Why exactly is it that you need us to go to this tomb? Why can't you just go there yourself, open it, and you claim that this king is no threat at all? So then what exactly are you afraid of?
I have two answers to your questions. You are a clever one, aren't you, Goblin? More clever than the most of your kind. Well, let me tell you this. There are other beings here for the nectar, wishing to claim it for themselves. I do not wish an open confrontation with any of them. I know of two pathways into the tomb. One would require someone with hand. The other would lead past the Thorn Queen.
The Thorn Queen? Who is that?
Once she was a god. Now she has been changed into a creature of darkness. She desires the nectar of the divine oh so badly. in her madness.
Well, you wish us to retrieve this for you. Perhaps you could tell us which path you think is less risky for creatures such as us.
I believe leaving the Queen of Thorns untouched would be wise. She is very powerful.
Well, I won't disagree with you there.
You said that you only want to return this essence to where it belonged.
Yes, to the realm of Oroki.
The realm of Oroki. That sounds very interesting. Can you tell me more about this?
Your mind is full of questions. I can sense that. It is wise to be. Only those who cause and ask questions can find answers. Only with answers can you understand what this world is. Listen to me, whatever you are. Listen well. The world you see around you is but a sliver, a mirror within a mirror. There are other worlds, other realms, some close enough to nearly touch, some so far away that merely seeing you would break, seeing them would break your mind. The realm of my father and mother is one of those realms.
And how is it that you travel between these realms?
I'm afraid that is not a skill I can teach you or even explain to you. It is my birthright as daughter of Oroki.
Very well, then answer one more question if you don't mind. Why precisely is it that you attacked and killed my somewhat less, shall we say, clever cousins, the ones that were cowering in the tower?
Why they attacked me? I merely chose to ask what they were doing in my domain. They came up.
She turns and one of her legs extends like a long finger pointing down into the darkness. And you can see just very barely where she's pointing, there's a large crack, large enough for a human probably to fit through. And she says,
They came there. They came to the realm below. They wished to traverse my territory. I only sought communication, but they attacked. So I stilled my hunger. Xanatha is not aggressive by nature.
Well, they did seem a bit jumpy. Oh, but wait, there was something moving below the ground in that tower. Do you know what that was? Was that your doing?
No, they have a captive.
A captive?
I believe that is what you have heard.
What sort of captive?
An adult of your kind.
Of whose kind?
Your kind, goblin.
You mean a goblin? I hardly find that likely.
You do not know.
What is it that I should know, spider thing?
You do not know of your own kind.
No, I most certainly do not.
Well,
Well, I mean, I do, but whatever you're implying, I don't know anything about that.
allow Xanatha to illuminate you.
By all means, teach us.
You are but one step. Your life is short, yet not short at all.
What sort of nonsense is that?
It is not nonsense, but truth. Listen wide. Gaze and understand. There are realms underground, caverns of beauty and danger. There is where the true adults of your kind live. I can hear their
Adult?
songs.
I am an adult.
You are not. You are a child. You are the first step in your life. You have not undertaken the change yet. You have not heard the songs of battle, the songs of forging, or the songs of shaping.
This is some sort of madness.
It is no madness. Ask the feral ones. They were enslaved, I believe, or at least hunted by their betters, by those who had grown.
How does one grow?
The Druzak is what you will become if you survive. Your kind grows old, or so you think. But it is not true. You but prepare yourself for your journey. Your kind is but the first step. You are preparing for your transformation into a Druzak.
What is a Druzak?
I believe there are other words for them.
Yes, such as?
I do not know many, for I have not been in this realm for a long, long time. His kind,
One long leg pointing at Victor.
is new to me.
New to you.
The last time I visited this realm, there was none of his kind here. So much has changed. Trees have grown where there was but plains before. But the Druzak are still here, mostly unchanged.
Is there something that I can do to accelerate this change, to unlock this potential that you speak of?
Age comes to all mortals in time.
Yes, well, I suppose we'll see about that. So how do we open this door?
Yes, let us return to the matter at hand.
Wait a second. If you know so much about the goblin kind, do you know about my kind as well?
I have never seen one of your kind before. But you are similar to a Druzak in some ways. Maybe I can tell you more. If I can taste you.
Taste me?
Yes,
Would-
the blood holds many secrets.
How much blood would you need to taste? Can I give you a pint?
I need but a quick one, a few drops, really.
You got gallons of blood in you. I think you can spare it.
Yeah.
In that case, let me give you a few drops. I do not wish to die or be harmed, but if you truly can tell me more about myself, don't be alarmed. With that, I draw my dagger and cut shallowly across my palm.
Okay.
And I also have
The spider's
a drinking horn.
out of the wall.
I
So all of a sudden,
squeeze a bit of my blood in my drinking horn and hold it out towards the spider.
No, this is diluted. I need it pure.
The spider is nearly with you now, her legs stretching out, and then it extends one thin leg towards you, hovering in front of your chest.
I hold out my bleeding palm.
The spider touches you. You feel the surface of the spider is warm and silky, very weirdly pleasant to the touch as it runs across your finger. You can hardly feel the touch. It's like a breath. Then the spider retreats, and you can see it.
Fascinating. I learned so much today. You are indeed cousin to the Trusak. But there is something wrong. The transformation that I spoke of, it left you scarred and damaged. The influence of Ratha has touched you. And while you are mostly free of it, I'm afraid what you lost cannot be regained. But
What is this Ratha you speak of?
There are 3 great powers in this world. Vilda, the power. Your minds, I do not know if they are suited to understand this. Let us return to the matters at hand. It is no concern to you, but what I can tell you is that you were once like she is.
A long hand extended towards the rat form of Takala.
Like she is in her true form.
I see.
You
This is
slept.
deep. This is very, very fascinating.
You slept.
Are you
in-
certain?
Yes, the blood does not lie. I am certain.
Can you teach me more?
Maybe. But first, you have to earn such a reward.
Of course. And Odd's eyes basically start gleaming so much that they're almost shining like the lantern he's holding.
Now, listen to me. The path past the Thorn Queen would be dangerous for you. I do not wish for you to go into danger. The other path, I have seen another of your kind, a female, walk it, a red-robed one.
Of whose kind?
Sorry, what was that?
Whose kind?
Humankind.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
She spoke of a riddle. She spoke of a painting, a mosaic in the wall around the gate that needs to be touched. She spoke of respect that needs to be shown to the dead king. If those 2 things are done, the gate will open. That is what she said.
When
Touch a mural. Show
when
respect to a king. What was the first one again?
mosaic on the wall, touch it,
That-
show respect.
I feel like I'm missing something.
When did this woman pass by you?
She did not pass. It was close to the tomb that she spoke to her ally. I was nearby listening.
And do you know what became of her?
She entered,
We were.
did not come out.
I see. Because originally we were sent by others of her kind to search for the red-robed ones. The red-robed ones who got lost in the depths of Davokar.
You have a larger purpose now. A more important one. However, there is another thing I can grant you. You have spoken to the one I saved, yes?
Yes, we did.
I can grant you protection against the influence of one of the creatures also searching for the nectar.
At what price does this protection come?
No price. However, it might be a little disturbing to your kind.
Does this
The one-
last forever, or does it go away at some point?
It lasts for a while. It should be more than sufficient.
Not it.
The one we saw did not seem to be in that good of a shape.
Yes,
What
but
kind of
not-
disturbances?
was he? Not like the other, drained, frozen.
Indeed, he was not.
I can give you protection like I give him. There will be a little bit of pain, but not much.
And aside from the protection, it doesn't influence us at all?
No, does not.
Well, this
Does she
giant
seem to
spider
be telling
seems
the
quite
truth?
trustworthy.
Does she seem to be telling the truth, or
Well, it's a spider.
It's a giant
Yeah.
spider.
Kind of hard
I
to
guess
read
there's
something
not
that
body
has
language
no-
to read or
Yeah,
whatever?
exactly. You have no,
Yeah,
there's
yeah.
no facial language or body language that you can
Right,
read
right.
that you're familiar
Got it.
with. So I mean, it's a spider. So you're like instinctively very, very cautious, especially because you're a rat. At the
Yeah, to be
moment.
honest, I don't trust a damn thing that she says.
But
Let's do
Right.
it. Let's rock and roll.
Well, to be
Not
quite
first, but
honest,
I'll see what happens to the rest of you.
to be quite honest, I'm still not entirely sure whether we can trust you. Why did you only speak to our friend back at the circle? I also
don't think we
tried
can trust
to
anyone
make
right now.
contact with you.
I do not always have my mind attached to the shimmering symbol of humans.
Victor
So-
wants this gift of yours, don't you, Victor?
Yeah, hit me up.
Wait, Victor can't hear me.
yeah, that's true. Victor is here.
Weak. Whoever
Well,
wishes to receive the gift, I will be happy to give it, but I am not enforcing it on you. When the darkness
Well-
descends and you feel the cold stealing into your bones, however, I just hope that you do not rule your decision not to accept my
well, the gift seems to be quite freely offered. Could you show me? Could you show me how you do it? Perhaps show Victor. Would you? You seem to trust this white lady right from the beginning. Do you trust in this gift she offers us right now?
Yeah, let's do it.
good, wise.
She comes away, moving away from Odd, across the wall again, and then coming closer and closer, and then her legs sort of extend, and you realize these legs are extremely long. And she pushes herself closer until her face hovers only about maybe 3-4 feet away from where Victor is standing. And Tarkala, I guess, you're still sort of in the satchel on his side.
Turn your head. It will be but a short pain.
Okay.
So you turn around. And Odd, you and Tarkala, you both see as the spider sort of moves in and the mandibles open wide, and the smaller set of mandibles opens wide as well, and the stinger, basically, like maybe a tongue of some sort, comes out of the mouth, curls around, touches Victor's neck between the armor of the helmet and the shoulder armor, where there's a little bit of skin free, and you, Victor, feel a little bit of warmth, like a wet, warm hand touching you, basically, on the neck. And then the spike goes in to your neck. You feel a sharp pain, like being stabbed with a needle, basically. And then the area goes numb. Spider retreats and moves away a little. And you, Victor, you feel numbness sort of spreads until the whole back of your neck is numb. And then there's a warm tingle going through you, like a warm breeze that you feel for a few seconds, basically. And then the feeling goes away.
Victor, are you all right?
I fall to the ground screaming, and I say, I'm just fucking with you. I'm like, yeah, no, I feel great, guys. Actually, I feel quite warm.
As he falls down, I stare at him wide-eyed until he basically shows that he was merely joking. Then I take a deep breath. Victor, why do you always have to do such... Arr!
This is for almost getting us killed. Both of you.
With that, I ignore Victor and turn to the spider.
She seems confused. Sort of looking in between you.
It seems my friend is quite all right. All right.
I said a freely offered gift.
I too accept your gift, and I would be grateful for if you could teach me more about the things you already mentioned briefly, about my kind, about the Druzak and all the rest.
Yes, I can teach you much, but later. What is your kind called?
Well, the humans did call us ogres, but I don't really know. You see, I woke up one day in the depths of the forest and didn't know anything about my past.
Yes.
I stumbled along the woods until I met Yagaba, my mother, one of his kind, and I point towards Victor. She taught me much.
Your life as a goblin ended. You slept, you dreamed, and in those dreams you were touched by Vratha. And then you awoke, transformed, but scarred. She has stolen your past, like she steals the world's future over and over again.
Can my past be returned to me in any form?
I do not know yet. Maybe that is something we can find out together.
I would be honored. And further, you mentioned that there are 3 great powers. You said something about Wilder and Rada. How is the 3rd one called?
That is no time. There is no time for this now. Bring me the nectar.
Of
and
course.
We can speak further.
Of
All
course.
can be revealed in time.
Of course. And what shall we do if we again encounter the spirit of the old king? You said he is not to be trusted.
I leave that to you. Do you accept my gift, ogre?
I do.
She comes towards you. Now, less cautious from the looks of it. Sort of towers above you now, stretched out onto her legs.
Turn.
Of course. I put the dagger away and slowly turn around.
You feel the same thing. Short stab like a needle. Numbness. And then a tingle of warmth that goes through your body 2 or 3 times, like waves of a warm, wind playing across your skin, and then that feeling is also gone. And as you turn, shake your head a bit, the spider has retreated again.
I imagine I'll have to shift back to accept this gift since I'm like 2 inches long, or
Yeah,
5 inches, whatever. All right. Do I need to roll resolute to switch back, or do I have enough like time to just?
You can switch back. Oh, by the way, you both take 1
Okay.
damage. By the way, Victor and Odd.
Ah, okay. All right.
Mhm.
Yeah, I shift back into my goblin form and approach cautiously, looking pretty unsure about this whole thing.
The spider comes over to you. You could see like the slime trickling out from between her mandibles.
Do you choose to accept my gift? If you do not wish to do so,
Yes, get it over with.
What wise decision. You might yet live to see your transformation complete, and I hope that you are not touched by Xanatha like your friend was. Now, let us proceed.
The spider comes closer.
Turn.
I, let her do her creepy thing.
You're like, ugh. It seems to be a bit more painful for you than it was for your companions. You also take 1 damage, and you feel like this numbness and then this weird cold that it sort of switches into a hot sensation, and you're like, shake for a bit, but then it fades into this pleasant tingle of warmth. And then that also fades.
Vener Xanatha, you said this gift. Xanatha, you said this gift protects us from but one of the creatures searching for the nectar. How many are out there?
Protect you. It only protects you from its touch. It has other means to hurt you. None of them as dangerous, though.
I see. And how many other creatures are out there searching for the nectar?
Only 2. But that is enough. The darkness would consume you if you let it. The Thorn Queen would tear you limb from limb as easily as you break a twig. They cannot be reasoned with. They are too far gone. Now, I believe our deal is made. Return to the tomb. Bring me what I asked for. Everything else you might find inside is yours.
Bless you.
As the spider spews out this thick blob of slime onto the ground.
I see. Did you gather anything else from the red-robed one? Any other hints how to enter the tomb or where this mosaic is within?
It's close to the gate. But no. They spoke many words. But not all made sense. And not all were about the gate.
Was the mosaic room not the one that we were in?
Sorry?
Was the mosaic room the one we were in?
The room you were in, the one with the gate, had 2 mosaics that you could see, at least.
Okay.
But you didn't really take a too close look.
I know you mentioned it. That's
Because
what
Yeah, there was mosaics for sure in there. You didn't really ever take a too close look at the walls as such. You were so focused on the gate and then at the sort of bodies lying on the ground, and then you didn't have the time to take a closer look after Odd tried to push the gate open.
There you go.
All right. Let's do it. Let's get out of here.
So
I need some healing at some point.
And it retreats.
So now that I've returned to my original form, I take my pack back from. Oh no, Gudrunal has it, not Odd. All right, I'll wait till we get up there. Then.
And we're still, still got to climb up.
But
Yeah,
I think
Xanatha
there's
retreats.
still the. Okay,
It's gone.
dang, too bad. Okay,
Get rid
how
of it.
far away is this rock thingy? Can I basically try to throw them my grappling hook to help them
Yeah,
climb
yeah.
towards the path?
Yeah, it should be easily done. All in all.
Okay. I throw the grappling hook over there. Guys, be careful. Don't fall down again.
I
there's
didn't
also
fall
the
down.
strand
That was
spider.
all Victor.
There's now also the strands of spider web left behind by Xanatha that basically connect the path and the little outcrop that you're on. They're like a small bridge, basically.
Try that.
Okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
They're very, very stable, slightly sticky, but not too much, and very firm under your feet. They're just moving up and down a little bit, and you can easily cross. You're quite surprised at how strong these frail-looking, silvery, thin strands are.
Okay. I basically wait till they are back on the zigzagging path, and then look them over. How wounded do they look?
I use my recovery to heal myself.
Yeah.
So I just ate some orange slices or something, took a quick breather.
I have some herbal cures, so I can take one of those. Is there?
Okay, quick out of character question. How much toughness do you each have?
I have 7
I have 10
Out
out
of?
13.
out of 10.
Okay, 7
Yeah.
out of 10 and 13 out of 15?
10 out of 13. We're both down 3.
Okay. Well, then I cautiously call out towards the spirits and try to heal first Tarkala and then Victor by laying on hands.
Okay.
So first of all, the resolute test.
Yep. So this is for Dracula, yeah?
Yep.
Okay. Fails.
Okay.
Damn it.
Nope.
So you take
And then one
corruption.
for. Yep. Then one for Victor. Okay.
Success. 1d6.
Yeah. And I'm gonna try again for Tarkala.
Sure.
Okay. So 3 points of corruption, and they get where do I have it? 1d6 back.
Is it 1d4 or 1d6 with that ability? I think it's 1d6, right?
It was 1d6.
Okay.
Shall I roll that too?
Yeah, sure.
Okay. First for Victor,
Hey.
and then for Tark.
Okay.
All right. So depending on whether we get a good night's rest in or not, I maybe use my herbal cure later. I guess I'm up to 9. Oh, wait, can I recover toughness when we are resting in the wild?
Sorry?
I thought you gained 5, I gained 2.
No. Yeah,
Where's the other
you
one?
get 5. You should be fine, Dracula. Only be
I thought it was the other way around. Sorry, my bad. All right, I'm back to
sorry.
7 then.
Sorry,
Yeah.
my bad. I should have probably said that clearer.
No, it's cool.
Okay. And
good now.
after that ordeal is passed, I slowly start ascending the path again.
Okay. Yeah, and you emerge out on the into the sunlight, as it is basically not much afternoon at the moment. And Gudrunal is looking at you and is like, I heard a scream coming from down there. What happened? You meet this one lady? You were gone for quite a while.
Well, this was of course Victor and his antics. I roll my eyes again as I extinguish the lantern. But we met his white lady. It turns out this was Xanatha is some kind of giant spider, but she's able to communicate telepathically, and she had us much to tell. She also did bless us like she did with the crazy guard back at the tower. She said or claimed that this would protect us from the touch of one of the creatures searching for this nectar in the tomb.
And you believed her?
You might venture down and also ask her for this gift.
I think I'm good. Don't want to have any gifts from giant spiders.
Well, it was offered freely. She asked each of us in turn whether we accepted, and said that she would not want to force it upon us. Further, she had
amulet or something, or
No, not exactly.
No. It was sort of a strange bite or sting, you could say.
you let her bite you?
Well, we're all in one piece,
was-
are we? Aren't we?
Yeah, so far. Who tells
There are
me that
many
we're not gonna...
there are many uncertainties here. I agree with you there, but there are a few things that we know. We know that this black wind is sweeping about everywhere, and we're lucky it hasn't hit us yet. And we know that the only survivor was the one who had this gift of hers. So yes, there were a lot of moving pieces, but all in all, it seems the risk is worth it. At least to me, no harm seems to have been done.
So far, but I'll think on it. And out of character, I'll let Martin decide this.
All right.
His own character. I don't want to make the decision for him. So
Of
course.
for now, he will not have it. If he chooses to, we can always retcon it and say his character climbed down and had offer himself.
All right, cool.
Nevertheless, Odd will still tell him about what fascinating things the spider had to say, what she seemed to know about goblins and ogres, and that it seems to be quite an ancient, wise, and powerful being.
All right.
So basically,
it might have been lying about everything.
of course, that could also be. However, I do have the feeling that it is a bit more trustworthy than I was thinking about this creature before.
Yeah.
Maybe Victor is not that crazy after all.
Well, I love. You know, earlier today it was like, no, it's crazy. Why would we ever go there? And now it's like, well, guess what? This is Spider's my new best friend. Come on.
So what's our next step then? We go back to the tomb?
Yep.
Seems so, but this time we should probably be careful not to walk into a trap. We need a good plan for how to deal with those others.
It'll take us the better part of the day to get back there. But we should make it before nightfall, I think.
Wait a second. I'd suggest, first of all, camping here, because the spider seems to be on our side, and certainly we can use a bit of a rest. Then, as Tarkala said, we certainly need a good plan. The spider
We have 5 or 6 hours while we're walking to come up with a plan.
We can walk, but let's not plan to arrive exactly where they are at nightfall.
Yeah,
I'd prefer to be there with a little bit of daylight.
Wouldn't it
yeah,
be
we
better
should.
to arrive at nightfall? Or after
Well,
dark?
Maybe.
We don't. Do we want
Not after a long day of trekking with no rest.
Let us not hurry right into danger again. As Tarkala said, we need a good plan. The spider merely said it wanted the nectar and it to return to her realm. However, she said that the spirit of the old king, which probably does control our old friend, as Tarkala pointed out, is not really to be trusted. She left it to us what we want to do with the spirit, with the body of Claudius, or whatever, or whoever it really is that is in control. She also doesn't want any of the treasures in the tomb, or any of the knowledge hidden there. So I'd say we can safely assume that we stand to gain the same benefits our old friend has promised us if we give the nectar to the spider instead of him. However, it might turn out quite problematic if he is to realize that. So I would suggest that we make camp here, rest up a bit. After all, neither our old friend nor his new minions do know where exactly we went, how far we have to went, or how far we have to go, and how perilous the journey is. We can rest up, figure out a good plan, and then walk back to the tomb. There seems to be no kind of pressure upon us that this nectar has to be returned quite soon.
Although the more time we spend in Dark Davokar, the more risks we accumulate. So there is something to be said for moving more quickly.
Isn't there also like a creepy wind thing that kills everything around it?
Well, some of us.
According to the spider, we are protected from its touch, and the other things it can do to us.
But it doesn't last forever, she said, right?
Unfortunately, she did not tell us how long it actually lasts.
Then perhaps we should be a bit quick.
Yes. But we shouldn't rush right into danger again.
No, I think we should lure them out one at a time, try to pick some of them off, perhaps even mind control a couple of them.
You can do that?
Well,
I can do that. Well, right, I taught Odd how to do that trick too, didn't I?
Yes, indeed. However, I'm still not 100% certain with this. Trifling with the mind is quite the hard work. I still marvel at how easily you pull it off, Tarkala. And as I said, we should probably be very cautious. We still don't know how many more minions our old friend has acquired and what exactly his new capabilities are. You
Out
said
of character. Sorry. Continue. I'm sorry. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
No problem. Go ahead.
No, you continue. I'm sorry.
Okay. How many and what his capabilities now are. You said that he himself is now barely hanging on by a thread. That the skull or the spirit of the old king is basically controlling him, right?
Yes, that's my feeling, is that this thing has a great deal of control over our old friend. But out of character, we did see him, the skull, controlling guards in the city while it also had Claudius fully under its control, right? So we have observed it controlling more than one thing at the same time.
I think so.
Yeah. Right. All right. Yes, I think that we should keep our distance from this skull thing. I would not walk directly into the tomb and announce our presence. I think that we should move cautiously and try to pick off as many of his men as we can before we have to face him.
I agree.
As long as we are very cautious and do not give away our intentions too soon, there is much to be gained by the moment of surprise.
Yes, I think we should sneak up on them and try to lure them away.
Isn't that better at night?
It does seem to be better at night, yes.
So he had what? 4 guys and the Dragul?
Yes.
Well, if you can take out at least 2 of those guys, that would just be 4 against 4. Surely we can take them.
If we could mind control 2 of them and get them to take out 2 of the others, it would be even better.
Well, I believe that's the thing to do, but I don't think those guys he had with him looked like particularly dangerous fellas. They were nervous. They were only wearing litter. Their weapons didn't seem too fancy.
Well, then perhaps we could sneak up on them one at a time, mind control them, get them to leave the camp, then, I don't know, scare them off or tie them up somewhere.
Aye, and as far as I recall, you did already sneak up on them in your changed form, didn't you, Turkala?
That's true, but I don't think I can't use my abilities while I'm in my form, can I?
No.
Right. So that doesn't really, yeah.
Perhaps you can gather some information in the same way, and even maybe even lure them out.
Yeah.
And
Shall
we
see.
should definitely be very cautious. Gudrunal, there's spirit of the old king, the skeleton, is also able to control minds.
Well, that's
Even
great.
strong.
So how about we sneak into camp, smash the skull or whatever that weird thing is, slit a couple throats, then run off.
This probably doesn't work.
We've tried smashing the skull
already
before.
tried to smash it. And
He said sneak.
in Ordo Magica, they also told us that the skull itself is probably impervious to harm of that kind. That we would have to smash the body instead, as this seems to be the anchor point of the power of the spirit.
Well, I don't know shit about magic, so I'll trust you on that, I suppose. It still means we have to come up with some sort of plan, right?
Aye.
So what's the plan?
Yes. Well, I suppose part of the plan is for me to scout out the perimeter. I can move very, very quickly in my small form, and so I can get out of danger fast. I can figure out the locations of these, somewhat less formidable foes, and then we'll need some sort of distraction, some way of luring them out, which could be mind control, but I would have to shift back into my normal form in order to do so. Or Odd would have to do so, but he's not particularly sneaky, so.
Depending on where they are, we might be even able to mind control them one at a time, draw them out individually, and silence them without the others even knowing a hint about it.
Yes, but we need to make sure that we have their positions under control and get them alone, because if we tangle with that skull thing, I can't guarantee it's not going to manage to take over our minds as well.
Of course.
Well, either way, we need to get closer to them, right? To figure out what the situation is.
Yes.
Yes, of course.
Let's approach them cautiously. And
All right,
even though Turkala did not see them following us here, they might still be around in a wider area.
I am certain they didn't follow us here.
So what are we going to do then?
Well, should we get moving? Back the way we came?
Aye.
Enough?
Out of character, I suggest we just walk very, very cautiously back towards the tomb, scout along the way whether we see anybody of those guys, and then for Turkala in shape-changed form to scout out the area and basically make more or less more detailed map with the positions of the guys, and yeah, ideally draw them out one by one via mind control.
What do we do if they're all clustered together and we need to, and we can't get close enough to them without alerting the others?
In that case, that we can talk about when it is, or it should be that case.
I agree. Let's get some information first. Then we can
All right.
make it.
Very well.
All right. So you grab your stuff and you head back east, pushing through several of those dead zones. The one that had ice and frost on it, when you passed it last, no longer has that. It has melted off within the last couple hours, probably. The sun is now quite high overhead and it's turning into a fairly warm day, in fact. And you push through most of the afternoon, and maybe about 6 o'clock or so, a good hour before nightfall, you are approaching the area of the tomb again. You should be there within the next 15 minutes to half an hour. You recognize some of the sort of trees and rocks around in a small ruin that you walk past, sort of half-carved broken rock with several vines dangling down from it.
All right. Once we get closer, of course, carefully keeping an eye on everything as we approach, I will try to shapeshift, get into the form of like a little mouse.
All right, go for it.
All right.
Oh, by the way, has my corruption dropped in the meantime?
Failed.
Yeah.
Succeeded that, so I only take 1 corruption.
Okay, but you have failed the check.
But I will, yeah, so I'm going to try again.
Okay.
All right, that's a success.
Okay.
That's a success, so 1 more.
Factorial corruption for that one.
Yeah.
All right.
Okay, so I slip into my mouse form. After making sure, of course, that we've discussed everything carefully before I'm no longer able to speak. And in fact, maybe before I shift, I can like have some kind of simple code with those guys, like
tapping
twice,
or scratching or
whatever,
stuff,
something like that.
Okay.
So just to give them in case I'm not able to change back or something like that. Yeah.
Sure. And what's the rest of you do? Is the rest of you staying behind, waiting, and then letting Takala move away by herself?
Yeah.
All right.
We of course also look carefully around. So if the other guys are scouting around, that they don't get the perfect drop on us.
Yeah, of course. All right. So Takala, roll me a discrete check, I suppose.
Okay.
You have advantage. Oh, sorry. I mean, you
Yeah.
can roll twice.
Exactly. But this is 6 levels of success, so
Okay,
should be
perfect.
good.
You disappear with a rustle in the brush and are approaching, your senses sharpened, the tomb. You walk for about 15, 20 minutes or so, and then you do get there. And you can see there is the entrance to the tomb is still standing half open, basically. It appears, first glance, untouched. Give me a vigilance check.
Okay. Ah, shit. That's great.
Okay. Yeah, as I said, it appears untouched. You don't see any signs of anyone close by.
All right. Can I head? I guess I would remember roughly where they were camped out before. I'm at the ruins now.
You do, yes.
So
You
I'll head
remember
in the
sort of south east-ish was where their camp was, maybe about half an hour or so away.
All right. Yeah, half an hour. That's quite a ways away. I will sort of camp out by the ruins for a little while, and just wait and see if I see anyone coming or going for some time. Like,
How long do you want to wait?
let's say 15 minutes or so.
Give me another vigilance check, as it is now slowly getting darker around you.
Oh, shit. All right, that's 2 levels of success.
Okay. You do smell something. You smell smoke coming from somewhere ahead of you, sort of east from where you are.
All right. Well, I'll head in that direction for like, let's say 5 minutes or so, and then
it doesn't even take you that long. Only you are 200, not even, like 150 yards away from the tomb, there is a new camp, a small new camp that has been created. There's a small campfire, mostly covered up, a little bit of smoke still escaping, and there is around it. There's some 4 of the mercenaries, cutthroats, bandits, whatever you wish to call them, are sitting around the campfire, and you can see the unmoving form of the Dragul, this undead creature, just standing there in the half darkness on the side, and just staring in the direction of the tomb. However, he has not noticed you, luckily.
All right.
And you see, in fact, you do not see Claudius anywhere. So there's four of the guys and this undead thing, the Dragul.
Okay. So they're all clustered together, and we didn't come up with a plan for what to do in this situation, did we?
Give me a cunning check.
All right. I'm slightly cunning. All right, there we go. 6 levels of success.
There was 5 guys. So in total, when you saw them, there was 5 mercenaries plus the Dragul plus Claudius. In the tomb, you only saw 4.
Got it.
plus the 2. So they must have left someone outside or something. I'm not quite
Okay,
sure. But
yeah.
when the first time you saw them, there was 5 of them.
Okay, I will move away from the camp then a little bit further and sort of, sweep in a parameter, like sort of moving in a circular motion around the perimeter of the camp and like moving further out as I try to see if I can
As you
spot
speak
any sign
around,
of this.
you very soon nearly bump into Claudius, in fact. He's only about maybe 15, 20 yards away from the camp. He's sitting on the ground on like a small rock. And he's sort of hunched over a bit, and it looks like he's holding something in his hand, sort of on his, basically in his lap, like looking down on it, unmoving, but his eyes are open.
All right. I will basically. I mean, he's not looking in my direction, I guess. So, I'll just sort of scrape behind something and just sort of stay there for a minute listening.
Yeah, you can hear him mumbling something. You catch a few words. Like he's talking, and you realize this. He's talking to the skull, which is in his lap. He's holding it with both hands and looking down on it, basically, like this. And you can hear his voice saying, "Why don't you tell me? These images mean nothing. I cannot understand you. Why don't you speak to me anymore? I'm here. I'm willing to do what you asked me for, what asked of me. You promised me something. When we open the tomb, you have to hold up your end of the bargain. Why don't you just tell me how you enter? Wouldn't that be the easiest for all of us? Why are you quiet? Damn you!" I've done too much. This has to work. They'll come back. We'll make a deal. We'll make some sort of deal. I will get what was promised to me. The world will know the name of Claudius Ignatius Landis III. I'll show all of them. He raises the skull up. You're my path. You are my path. He sinks back down. Sort of starts mumbling again. More or less incoherently.
All right. Well, as he appears to finish with his monologue, I will sweep out a little bit further, continuing to look for signs of this 5th guy.
Okay, give me another vigilance check.
All right. Ah, man, nah.
No, you spend about a good half an hour looking around the camp in about maybe 100 yards or so, perimeter radius, but there is no sign of him. You just can't find him. You're not sure. Maybe he's dead. Maybe he ran off. Maybe he's somewhere else,
Right.
at the camp or something, or maybe in the tomb. You're not sure. You can't see him anywhere.
Okay. Do I remember, by the way, like what this guy looked like, the one who I don't see now? Like, did he look like he was well equipped, like, or was he just another one of these sort of,
I mean, you very vaguely remember that he was a sort of fairly thin, a blonde fella. But that's pretty much all. I mean, they're all similarly equipped. They have spears, a couple short swords, and bows, basically.
Yeah.
Or crossbows.
All right. So then, not seeing any, finding any sight of him, I will then head back to my companions.
All right.
In the meantime, I have taken the liberty of scratching, basically clearing a small area of the ground,
Okay.
of the bare earth or the dirt, and then scratching an alphabet in there.
Okay. It's
All right.
And
shoddy work because this is not like a wax plate. It's mud.
yeah, and also the numbers from 0 to 9 next
Okay.
to the alphabet.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah, I head back.
Yeah, so Tarkala is gone for good maybe 2.5, 3 hours. So it's well and truly into the night, about now 9 o'clock or so, 9:30, as she returns to camp, or at least some weird rat thing crawls in from the darkness. You figure that must be Tarkala. I'm assuming you made a small fire in the meantime.
All right. So yeah, I approach, and I guess I see the odds weird writing on the ground. But
Yep.
okay. Well, I can change back, or I can spend like an hour spelling things out. But I just basically run over the letters CHANGE to like spell change, and then
Okay.
just stand there waiting to see what they say. And then I spell lots information, lots info, long time.
Okay.
Did you find the guys?
Well, now that the rat has run over the whole thing a bunch of times, it's already starting to crumble. Some of the letters are gone. Others are sort of smeared up. So it's
You can ask me yes, no questions, but I can't tell you much of the most important information I have. So
Okay.
you hear this like irritated squeak from me, and I like transform back into my normal form. I guess technically I'd have to roll for this, but I guess there's no time pressure.
You have enough time.
Yeah.
You don't roll for that. It's only in combat and like just because circumstances you have to roll.
Yeah. Yeah. So you see me shift back, and I sort of like stand up, and I'm like, odd. I have a lot of information to relay. That would have taken all night. Nice idea, but maybe use some of your parchment next time. I don't know. Anyhow.
There's a very sad look towards Tarkala and the ruined alphabet on the ground.
It would probably take me less time to learn how to write with my paws.
Not entirely wrong, yeah.
So, but it was a good idea, though. I appreciate the effort, Odd. And then I explain, the locations, the fact that I couldn't find the fifth guy, and I'm totally unsure where he might be. There was no trace of him. And of course, relay what Claudius was muttering to the skull.
All right. And with that information, and with nighttime covering you, our group starts to plan to see if they will turn, or how they will turn against their former group member Claudius Ignatius Landis III. And we will see how that turns out, as it looks like this was not our last session after all. So one more is coming, guys. So yeah, we'll see how that turns out. Tune in again next week, probably around the same time. And we'll see if we can bring this to a more or less satisfying close. Now all the players are in position, and it's time to make the final moves, one way or the other. And with that, we are ending tonight's stream. Tune in next week, as I said, to our, I think, 5th part of the Tomb of Dying Dreams, final part of the Chronicles of the Copper Crown. We will figure out what the end fate of the Copper Crown is, what happens to Hiruan-Lo-Apak, and last but not least, who will or what will claim this nectar, or whatever you wish to call it, and who will survive, who will live, who will gain wisdom and power and riches, and who will die and be forgotten and consumed by the vegetation of Darkar. And until then, True Mouse Games says thank you for watching. Have a wonderful evening. Good luck with your own games, and we will see you around. Bye-bye.